Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys liked my videos. This is a story about what if Naruto was a Super Saiyan. Bardock is about to die, but a dimensional rift when the Yondaime summons death god the Shinigami pulls him into the Naruto world and onto Kyuubi's back moments before the ceiling. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and leave a like and check the description for the creator of this great fanfic and support them for making this fanfic. Now let's start. Chapter 3 Saiyan Workout. When Naruto landed at the training area, Jiraiya was able to guide him to while blocking out the man's screaming. He put Kin down gently, and threw the Sannin onto the ground before putting a finger in his ear. Looking around after doing that, the blonde Saiyan was able to assess the area Jiraiya wanted to work with and see it was designed for privacy when training. It was perfect. You didn't have throw me down so hard, Gaki, said Jiraiya while rubbing his butt to get the soreness out. And you didn't have to scream like a little girl halfway here, said Naruto while Kin just giggled since the man had screamed like a little girl. No respect, said Jiraiya while Naruto removed his upper clothing so they could look at the seal and Kin had to look away with a blush on her face. Welcome to my world. Now fix this damn thing, said Naruto, as he was going to make Jiraiya work off 12 years of neglect, and it was starting right now. Okay. Don't be so impatient, said Jiraiya, as he gave Orochimaru's handiwork over the Yondaimes, and then removed it with the 5 elemental unseal. Wow. That feels better. Like a dam was destroyed and my power is overflowing in me, said Naruto, as he felt the Kyuubi's power surging through him, and seeing the Sannin leap back with Kin also keeping a fair distance. So, you're not going to explode, said Jiraiya while seeing the boy being covered in energy, and it was concerning to say the least. Give me moment. This is a lot of power I'm feeling right now, said Naruto, as he was fighting for control, and the ground shook with storm clouds forming in the sky above. Oh crap. Run the hell, said Jiraiya, as he grabbed Kin, and ran since the tall tale signs of destruction of an area were upon them. With a loud roar, Naruto covered the area energy, and yet still fought for control over what felt like another presence trying to control him. However, the boy wouldn't let this power go to his head, and called upon all his willpower to not let this consume him. As he retracted the power back into his body, Naruto felt a part of him swelling with pride over being able to do it, and the Uzumaki wondered if that was Kyuubi, or something else responsible for the changes in his life. Before he could think anything further about it, Naruto collapsed onto the ground. Naruto's mindscape. Well, that was certainly interesting, said Naruto, as he got off the ground, looked around his current location, and found himself seeing it was a bit technological for his tastes. Where the hell was he? And why did it seem partially familiar? This way, said a demonic voice that Naruto decided to follow and walked through the path in front of him with doors automatically opening for him until reaching the source of the one calling him. Why am I not surprised, said Naruto seeing the form of Kyuubi sitting on a throne of sorts, but behind a cell with energy bars, and it was clear from the joy on the vixen's face that she was happy to see him. Come now. I can't all the credit. I want to, but sadly I can't, and is it really so bad seeing your mind like this? Before it was sewer filled ankle high with water. Right now the place looks great, it's much more inviting, and a much better improvement, said Kyuubi, as she saw Naruto looking around, and took the time to admire his form. How exactly did this happen? Said Naruto, as he kept the surprise of Kyuubi being female hidden, and yet it wasn't much of a surprise from the start. It was like he already knew. You haven't figured it out. I know when Bardock merged with you to complete all the things we did to alter your genetic makeup to become a Saiyan, but it seems the seal that the Sannin put on the Yondaimes also prevented a full merging, and only now you're feeling a true sense of familiarity, said Kyuubi, as she saw him look at her now, and had his full attention. Bardock. Yes. That name sounds familiar, said Naruto, as he could feel more of the memories of the man invade his mind, showing him the greatness of the Saiyan race, and how they had become great warriors in their own right. And then finally, how they were wiped out by being afraid of their potential. So you know now how they fell. Such a shame really. Despite them being arrogant, they had such potential in their dimension to be great. Bardock only learned what they could become too little too late, and by the time it was too late, well, I don't need to tell you how that turned out, said Kyuubi, as she saw Naruto frown at her, and knew to tread carefully with him. That sudden surge of power I let out. It was you, wasn't it? said Naruto, seeing Kyuubi nod since there was no point in denying it. Guilty. Though in all honesty, I kind of had to do that since you were backed up with so much of my chakra, not to mention Bardock's own baggage after the merging that if I didn't, well, you would have exploded, and most likely taken a large chunk out of this world that would have made it die a slow painful death. You're welcome by the way, said Kyuubi, as she was sharpening her nails now, and looking at him with the intention of hearing the thank you from his mouth. What happens now? Said Naruto while Kyuubi now had a look of anger on her face for being denied the simple 2 words she wanted from him. What happens now is I break out of this seal, out of your body, and then tear your monkey ass to pieces, said Kyuubi, as she launched chakra through the seal at Naruto, but he batted it away, and flexed his own power back at her. Don't bother making threats you can't keep, Kyuubi. We both know this seal won't let you go all out, and even if you did, your power is still no match for mine, said Naruto with Kyuubi gritting her teeth. Insolent monkey. The only reason I help you out is because it is a necessity. Given the chance, I'd kill you, and all those that actually saw you for you. I'd know just where to start too, and it would be that Hyuga girl who is always blushing whenever she's in your presence. I'd make her my little slave girl first. Make her a regular carpet licker too before whoring her off to perverts that have thing for the submissive slaves. Then go after that ramen stand place where they actually fed you instead of ripping you off with spoiled food or kicking you out with a nearly chopped off limb from a butcher's knife. Let's see, I could boil the man in a ramen stew, then have the girl make it before she serves it to me, and then serves me below the waist like a good little pet she'll make, said Kyuubi, but before she could even think further on the matter, the vixen was hit by a lot of killer intent, and felt Naruto's power rise him. Speak about them or anyone else I know are worth protecting, Kyuubi, and I swear on my Saiyan blood the last thing you see me do is rip out all 9 of your tails before hanging you with them, said Naruto, as he wanted Kyuubi to know just how serious the threat was to her being by his hands, and was not going to tolerate the demonic fox's actions. Fine. Fine. Though I wouldn't make such threats if you were more respectful to me for unblocking your system once the Sannin fixed what the other one did, said Kyuubi, though in truth her threats were in fact empty since she did like her container, and to see him filled with such passion when it came to protection what he loved was quite a turn on. I don't give such things out to demon foxes, who made my life miserable for her stupid attack on the village, and then does one thing positive in my life to combat the negative, said Naruto, seeing Kyuubi look sad when hearing that. I deserve that. Truth is, I never wanted to attack your village in the first place, or be sealed into you either for that matter. If you must know, the blame for my attack was in fact by the hands of Uchiha Madara, and his damn Sharingan eyes, said Kyuubi with Naruto narrowing his eyes at her. And I should believe you. Why? Said Naruto with his arms crossed in front of him. I'll show you everything from that night you were born. Your mother was so happy before then. Kushina would go on and on about having a boy. Minato thought she was going to have a girl, but Kushina knew from her own motherly instincts building up inside, and if there is one thing I've learned in my long life is to never bet against an Uzumaki no matter what, said Kyuubi, as she showed him that day, leading into the night, and how Madara had come for them while somehow finding out about the location of where the pregnancy was going to happen with Kushina's seal weakening during that time. My father was. The Yondaime Hokage, said Naruto in disbelief while the Kyuubi nodded and watching the memory unfold even when Madara used his eyes on her. Yes. Both married of course, so you're not a bastard child like those adults kept telling you all those years ago. Though to be honest, when looking back at this memory, I do wonder just who sold out your family, and allowed Madara to do what he did. There are only a small group of people, who knew what was going to happen, and they were all high up in the government food chain. Now, if I were the Yondaime, those Anbu would have been chosen at the last minute to ensure no one got information out of them. Now, aside from the Yondaime, Kushina, and the Anbu in the room, who else would know? Said Kyuubi, as she replayed the memories of she had while in Kushina up to how things happened several times, and saw Naruto watching the feed intently. The Sandaime, said Naruto coldly with narrowed eyes while they stared at the old woman with his mother during the pregnancy while around the Anbu. Huh, said Kyuubi while watching what he was watching. That old woman. I've seen her in a picture with the Sandaime. I asked about her once and the old man had an angry look on his face for the tiniest of seconds before telling me it was his wife. How she died around the time I was born, said Naruto, seeing Kyuubi raise an eyebrow at him. But why would he sell out your parents like that? Not to mention his own wife, said Kyuubi, as she saw him trying to figure it out, and knew that he knew the theory didn't make sense. I'm not sure he did, but I can damn well bet he blames me, or you rather, for the death of his wife. As for the betrayer to my parents, it had to be someone who knew. I need to know about all the people who knew of the location, and where my mother intended to be that night, said Naruto before looking at Kyuubi and seeing the vixen nod since she wanted the jerk too. She actually liked Kushina. The woman had spunk for a redhead and human. Well, there is one person you can ask. The Yondaime sensei, no doubt checking you over to ensure you're not dead right now, and if I'm trying to take over, said Kyuubi, as she knew the Sannin was probably having a fit, or heart attack over what he just saw the boy do. Then I'll go ask him. Oh, and Kyuubi, said Naruto, seeing the vixen look him dead in the eyes. Yes, said Kyuubi, seeing the boy smile at her. Thank you, said Naruto before vanishing from his mindscape to the real world. Damn, he's going to be a looker in a few years. Just about every girl his age, around it, and even slightly older women are going to want a piece of him. It's not fair, said Kyuubi, as she wanted to throw her own temper tantrum at being locked away, maybe even destroy a mountain here, or a country there, depending on what her line of sight aimed was locked on at the moment. She'd find a way out, and when Kyuubi did, the world was going to be rocking from her actions, with Naruto within seconds of being free. Real world Naruto. Naruto. Wake up, you dumb blonde baka, said Jiraiya before kicking Naruto in the face. Danan was rewarded with the pain equivalent to feeling of kicking the jagged edge of a mountain barefoot. Not fun. Sorry. I was having a chat with my tenant. She's been most helpful in answering a few of my questions about my life that were kept away from me, said Naruto before looking at Jiraiya hopping around on one foot and cursing him for having a thick skull. What did you learn, Naruto-sama? Said Kin, as she had been awed by his power, and how he commanded it to return to him without it brining his mind to insanity. Who my parents were. Who interfered in my mother's pregnancy. And that someone in Konoha sold them out to the Tem that tried to let Kyuubi free in the first place, said Naruto while Jiraiya stopped dancing around and looked at him in shock. You know, said Jiraiya while Naruto glared at him. Yes. Of course, I'm sure it was something you were sure to mention to me, right? Said Naruto with Jiraiya laughing nervously. Ah, well, the Sandaime felt you weren't going to learn about that until much later in life and could defend yourself from the enemies your parents made in the last war. Kumo had tried to kidnap your mother, and Iwa is not exactly a place that loves your father like the leaf does, said Jiraiya while Naruto scoffed. Well, I'm strong enough now. More than enough. Did you know where my mother was going to be when the time came for my birth? Said Naruto, seeing Jiraiya nod his head. Few did. Tsunade was ordered back to help with the delivery, but she came back too late, and the Sandaime lied to her, stating her own living relative on her grandmother's side was dead. The Anbu were last minute. Picked by your father himself. There was the Sandaime Hokage, his wife, Hitaki Kakashi, and the Shinobi Council, though those two old bats were just given a general area since they were high enough to know, just not the actual location due your father not trusting them. It was them, said Naruto, seeing Jiraiya frown. What do you mean, Naruto? Said Jiraiya while sensing the boy's anger rising with his power doing the same. I mean, they sold my parents out to Uchiha Madara, said Naruto with Jiraiya looking at him in shock. But, he died. Years ago fighting the Shodaime. Surely you can't be serious, said Jiraiya while the look in Naruto's eyes told him the boy was deadly serious. Kyuubi showed me her memories of the year of my mother's pregnancy and that night when Madara struck. He killed the Anbu and the Sandaime's wife. No doubt that is the reason behind the old bastard's hatred of me. He talks about the village being narrow-minded and that they would let go of their hatred of me one day in future. That old senile bastard's a hypocrite, said Naruto, making a ball of energy and launching it at the nearby forest region. Destroying a large chunk of it in the process. Not to self. Do not anger Naruto to make him throw one of those at me, thought Jiraiya, having seen the smoke and dust clear to see the devastation. I'll deal with that Uchiha in due time. Right now, I'll focus on the Chunan exam finals, and training for them, said Naruto, as he saw Jiraiya nod in agreement. Since Madara was so far off right now, you'd need a super enhanced Byakugan eyes to see him, and that was if you were lucky. So what do you plan to do for training? Said Jiraiya curiously. I'm going to be training with Maida Guy in taijutsu. I want to refine my skills and he's already offered to help. You're going to help too, but in a different way, and on a much larger scale, said Naruto, seeing Jiraiya raise an eyebrow at him. Me? How? Said Jiraiya, pointing at himself. First, you're going to teach me about seals. What they can do, how can they go, and I want to focus on using them for holding things down, said Naruto, seeing Jiraiya scratch his head in thought. Holding things down. Like weights. Or do you want to know about gravity seals? Said Jiraiya, with that perking Naruto's interest. Gravity seals. I know Maida Guy and Rock Lee use weights. I want that plus the skill to use gravity seals and how to increase them, said Naruto, with Jiraiya shrugging, since there was no point in denying the kid on account natural talent for sealing was in his blood from his mother's side of the family. Sure. Meet me here tomorrow in the afternoon. I'll be digging around for information on who exactly knew of your parents' secret location. I know you suspect the two old crows from the Shinobi Council, but it never hurts to cover all bases, and since I can't trust the old man due to his own reasons for hating you, I'm going to move a bit more discreetly than usual, said Jiraiya, seeing Naruto nod. I also need a new place to stay. I refuse to live in that shithole I called a home even if it does have some kind of sentimental value, said Naruto, seeing Jiraiya nod. Fair enough. Follow me. I'll take you to your family home, said Jiraiya, as he along with Naruto and Kin followed him to the Namikaze estates not far from their current location. Nice, said Naruto with a grin on his face while Kin looked at it with awe. Yeah. No one has been in it since Kyuubi's attack, so expect things to be a tad dusty, said Jiraiya before leaving the two genin behind to handle things. Thanks a lot, you lazy bastard, said Naruto to himself, but Kin heard him and giggled since it was true. I will do the cleaning up, Naruto-sama. It's the least I could do after all you've done for me, said Kin while Naruto looked at her in surprise. You don't have to be my maid, Kin. I can take care of myself, said Naruto, though she saw him shake her head. It's not that, Naruto-sama. It's just, I don't want to continue being dead weight while I'm living in your home and doing absolutely nothing, said Kin, as she had felt like dead weight, and needed to do something other than just mooch off of him. Fair enough. Though I will be assisting in the cleaning too. It's a big house and it's too much for one person to do. Shadow clone jutsu, said Naruto, as he created a small army, and Kin was shocked to see so many copies of him. Things were looking up for the two of them. With Maida Guy sometime later. Are you sure you don't want to wear this, Naruto-san? Said Guy, holding green spandex that Naruto could only assume was in his size. How that was even possible, Naruto didn't know. Personally, he didn't want to know. I'm sure. Trust me, said Naruto while trying to be polite as possible while holding back the desire to obliterate the thing in the Junin's hand. Very well. I also spoke with Jiraiya-sama earlier and he said you wanted to wear heavy weights mixed with gravity seals, said Guy, as he produced leg weights, and threw them to Naruto with the weight in them being several hundred pounds each. Not bad. I can use these. Both filled to the max with the heaviest weights around, said Naruto, as he put them on, and felt himself moving slower than usual. Yes. When you see Jiraiya-sama later today, he can add on the gravity seals, and make them even heavier, said Guy, as he now got into his fighting stance, and Naruto did the same. Don't hold back, Guy-sensei. The harder the training the better, said Naruto, seeing Guy nod in understanding. The boy had a month to learn his taijutsu and he wanted to learn it the hard way just like Lee did. Watching the two from a safe distance, Tenten watched the two spar against the other, and while Naruto was clearly holding back, he was still taking hits from the more skilled taijutsu master. Though the thing that impressed Tenten the most was how well Naruto had adapted to Guy's level so easily, and wondered just how far the blonde could go in such a short time. Of course, Guy had yet to remove his weights, but she knew that he would do that only when Naruto had adjusted to this level, and not a second sooner. It's a shame I have to train with Neji. Oh well. There will be plenty of times for me to watch these two spar, thought Tenten before sighing and heading off to meet with Neji for his training. Naruto couldn't remember the last time he had a spar like this that got the blood rushing, and deep in the back of his mind the blonde knew why. He never really had a spar like this before, as Kakashi would either have him do chakra control exercises, or leave the blonde to his own devices. Not to mention Naruto didn't know that there was no one to spar with in hand-to-hand combat, much less one he could trust not to use it as an excuse to beat him to death. But with Guy being his taijutsu instructor, the blonde didn't have to worry about that, and could enjoy himself in having this fight. Eventually the two fighters had gone at it for what seemed like hours, and by that point it was finally time to call it quits since Naruto had to meet with Jiraiya soon. Still, it had been a productive day, as Guy left him scrolls to know the stances better, to use shadow clones to have them test out the stances, and the original Naruto would spend time with Jiraiya. With Jiraiya, about time you got here. I was about to think Kakashi's tardy behavior had rubbed off on you, said Jiraiya, seeing Naruto scowl in anger at the mention of the Cyclops. I was enjoying my training session for once with a competent Chunan sensei. Sue me, said Naruto while Jiraiya grumbled something like, smart ass, before approaching him with a book on an introduction to sealing. Look at this book later on today. It's a basic guide into sealing. Your mother's side of the family were naturals with the art, so this will help get things moving. Now let me see those leg weights of yours so I can put some gravity seals on them, and take these wristbands too. Once I activate the ones I put on your legs, they'll activate too, and thus make things more difficult for you to move around. Are you sure you want to do this? I mean, even Guy and Lee aren't this crazy, and those two have done some pretty weird stuff if what some of the other shinobi have told me, said Jiraiya, as Naruto put on the wristbands, seeing the gravity seal markings on them, and waited for Jiraiya to finish working on the leg weights. Trust me. From what I know of the Saiyan race from Bardock's memories, their planet had gravity 10 times that of ours, and they also wore weighted armor to further add to increasing their strength when not in combat, said Naruto while memories of Saiyans in such gravity appeared in his mind. That's insane in itself. Well, I'm done. Gravity seal 20 times activate, said Jiraiya, as he activated the gravity seal, and Naruto almost kissed the ground had he not reacted fast enough. Perfect. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a workout regimen to do, and not enough time on my hands to get things done, said Naruto, as he began doing push-ups, and Jiraiya just watched the blonde in shock since he never expected the boy to be smiling after that. Something tells me this kid's personal workout regimen is just getting started and make guys look tame, thought Jiraiya while making a shadow clone to watch over the kid, and went out to do spy master stuff. Hours later, holy shit. This kid is still going, thought the shadow clone of Jiraiya, as he had been watching the boy do push-ups for 5 hours straight, and not once did Naruto stop. Even Guy or Lee would have stopped at this point with all the weights on their body. I should have done this with those two exercise nutcases a long time ago. I almost regret pulling pranks on people. Almost. Of course, I probably still would even after meeting them, and just worn weights to make things more interesting when being chased, said Naruto with a grin on his face, as he was nearing 50,000 push-ups. Naruto running around in green spandex talking about the springtime of youth. Ah. No. Get out of my head. Think perverted thoughts. Think perverted thoughts, damn it. Tsunade in a bikini. Not enough. Tsunade naked under a waterfall. Better, but still not enough. I know. Tsunade having hot lesbian sex with that Mitarashi Anko chick. Oh yeah. Much better, thought the shadow clone of Jiraiya while Naruto finished his push-up and quickly leapt to his feet, though he appeared to be struggling to stay up at first. That was a good first start, said Naruto seeing the shadow clone of Jiraiya just look at him like he was crazy. A good first start. You just did 50,000 push-ups with weights and gravity seals on top of them. What more could you want to do now? Said the shadow clone of the Toad Sannin with Naruto grinning at him. What else after doing so many? I'm going to eat, said Naruto and flew off to his old eating place while the shadow clone of Jiraiya face planted himself on the ground before going, poof. The real Jiraiya felt the memories of his shadow clone and his eyebrow twitched at the boy's statement about food. Ichiraku ramen. At the moment, Ayame had only heard rumors of Naruto's transformation, some claiming he was showing his demonic form now, and was planning to go on a rampage. Killing people, maiming them, offering innocent maidens up as sacrifices to some demonic god in hell, and trying to open a portal into the demonic realm. Ayame thought they were being stupid, of course, as she had seen Naruto put up with all their crap, and not once even attempt to do those things despite being more than entitled to should the opportunity present itself. Poor Naruto. No matter what he does, they put him down, and do everything in their power to keep him down, thought Ayame before a swish was heard, and what she went to see her latest customer made the woman's jaw drop. Hey Ayame-chan. Give me all the ramen you got. All of it. I'm hungry. Really hungry, said Naruto while Ayame just stared at him in disbelief while unsure of what to make of his new appearance. Naruto, said Ayame, as she saw him sit down, and couldn't believe the change in the boy. In the flesh. Now about that order of just about all the ramen in back, said Naruto while Ayame's father came out from the back. Naruto. Holy crap. What happened to you? Said Toiki, as he sees Naruto looking like someone you don't want to mess with in a dark alley, and if you did, you were screwed. My body basically got an upgrade. I'm strong, faster, and better than ever before. That also includes my stomach, said Naruto before that same organ rumbled angrily for food and actually shook the ramen stand. You're serious? All the ramen I've got. How could you even afford it? Even if some of the bowls were on the house, it would be too much, said Ayame, as she saw him grin, and knew he had an ace up his sleeve. Simple. Send the bill to Jiraya of the Sannin, said Naruto with Toiki looking at him with eyes nearly popping out of his sockets. To Jiraya of the Sannin, said Toiki in shock at hearing who to send the bill to for so much ramen. Yeah. Jiraya's my godfather. If the man complains, tell him this is a form of payment for 12 years of neglect in his duties, said Naruto with grin on his face. And if he doesn't do it, said Ayame with Naruto's face becoming deadly serious. Tell Jiraiya he either pays you in money or he pays me with his balls being ripped out his ass. It shouldn't be too difficult a choice. A piece of his male pride. Or money, said Naruto seeing Toiki go pale at the mention of balls being ripped out part. Does he even have the money for it? Said Ayame knowing that while Jiraiya probably got quite a sum of money over the years, but to pay for that much ramen, it was quite the fortune. You know those perverted orange books Hatake Kakashi and other shinobi read all the time, said Naruto while Ayame frowns and Toiki grins. Oh yeah. Real popular among the men of the world, said Toiki with a chuckle while Ayame had an angry look on her face. You mean the perverts of the world, said Ayame knowing what she'd do if Kakashi came in here with that book in hand. Off with his hand, the book, and maybe something else too while she was at it. Jiraiya of the Sannin is the author of those books and I imagine he's made a fortune with them over the years, said Naruto smirking and saw Toiki's eyes became dollar signs with Ayame having an evil smile on her usually innocent face. Of course. After all, a godfather should treat his godson to at least one all-you-can-eat ramen special and no one eats ramen like you do Naruto, said Ayame, as she was going to enjoy sticking Jiraiya with the bill, and laugh when he had his heart attack that would bring about the end of Ika Ika Paradise. The young ramen waitress mentally let out an evil laugh with thunder and lightning in the background at seeing the end to such perverted smut. Her father was picturing all the money Jiraiya would give them and they could expand their business in making it larger to hold more customers with enough left over to retire. Hell, Toiki was willing to do just that, and let Ayame run the store in his place with a whole staff. I agree. All the ramen Naruto can eat and then some, said Toiki, as he was making the food for Naruto, and saw the blonde eat it faster than ever before. And that was saying something. Soon Naruto was eating them faster than Toiki could make, bowls piling up for all to see, and it was drawing quite a crowd. While many did not care for the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, they did become amazed at how much he was able to stuff his face, and eat so much ramen without puking. Even the Akamichi, who were watching this were amazed, impressed, and slightly afraid at the sight of bowls that told all that saw them that Naruto's stomach surpassed all. Within a span of 3 amazing hours of making ramen, Toiki found himself completely out of the food in all of its forms, and means of making it. Everything from beef to miso ramen were no more and the belly of Naruto was showing itself to be bulging with the stomach being very happy at eating so much food. Damn, that was good. A few hours exercising and I should have all this fat turned back into muscle in no time, said Naruto, as he patted his belly, and let out a massive burp that shook the entire area around him. That was the most sickest and most horrible display of eating I have ever seen, said Shikamaru, who had been a witness to the event with Choji, and saw his teammate just staring at Naruto. Akamichi Choji, bow to your stomach Naruto, and submit that no one member of my clan can match its greatness, said Choji, as he bowed before Naruto, and Shikamaru just felt flat on the ground with a slight twitch. Troublesome, thought Shikamaru while Naruto just laughed and patted Choji on the back. Thanks Choji. Now I have to work off all this extra weight with some light training. I think I'll make an army of shadow clones and do 8 hours of non-stop taijutsu practice, said Naruto before flying off into the air to a training ground while Shikamaru just saw the blonde fly away and then looked dumbly at Choji now sporting that same look. Did he just call 8 hours of non-stop taijutsu practice light training, said Shikamaru seeing Choji nod. That he did, said Choji while Shikamaru looked back into the sky where Naruto had flown off to. Since when does Naruto train like Meta Guy on steroids, thought Shikamaru before deciding for his own mental health to let the matter drop for now. It was just too troublesome. With Jiraiya sometime later. Jiraiya was happy. He got some research done, his godson was training for the Chunan exams, and the gods above were content to let things stay that way. If there was one thing Jiraiya knew how to do was not make waves when there was no point to making them. Jiraiya-sama, said a Chunan appearing in the bar the Sannin had decided to have a drink in while enjoying this moment of tranquility. Yeah, that's me, said Jiraiya turning to the Chunan, who handed the toad Sannin a very large compressed receipt of some kind, and a large number at the bottom. Uzumaki Naruto told the owner of Ichiraku Ramen that you would pick up this bill for him, said Chunan, as he just bowed politely, and left the stunned Jiraiya to see the exact total of the bill. What? Naruto? Yelled Jiraiya, as he saw the long, very long bill, and the amount that was apparently owed before looking at the note at the bottom. P.S. Naruto told us you are his godfather and owe him 12 years for your neglect. Don't fight it. You can't. Damn that brat and his guilt trip, thought Jiraiya, who knew this huge bill would break a lesser man's bank account. The years of living like a hermit, and letting his fortune build up from his books barely made a dent in his wallet. Still. Did the Gaki really have to hit him with this? Namikaze states a few weeks later Naruto had really gotten into the spirit of things when it came to his training, which had involved sparring with Guy, learning the art of sealing from Jiraiya, and yet as the exam finals were only a few more days away the blonde felt like there was something missing in his training. Like a piece of his Saiyan heritage that Naruto should have learned, was right in his reach, and yet, was completely over his head. But what was it? Naruto-sama, said Kin, as she saw him sipping some tea, and found it strange that such an energetic individual could look so calm right now. Yes, Kin, said Naruto, as he turned to face his unofficial maid, at her insistence while staying here, and saw the girl enter the living room area. There is a wonderful moon out tonight. Would you like to see it with me? Said Kin while she saw him stiffen at the mention of the moon. The moon is out, said Naruto while something in him began to feel like that should be important. Yes. Nearly full from what I can see. Maybe it is a full one, said Kin seeing him stiffen further and felt his power spike slightly. Kin, I would like nothing more than to look at the moon with you right now, but there is something about the orb in the sky that brings out a very dangerous part of my Saiyan side, and if I can't control it, will bring about your death, said Naruto seeing one of the memories of Bardock looking up at a full moon and changing into a giant ape like his fellow Saiyans. Oh. My apologizes Naruto-sama, I didn't know since you never showed it during your training, and with the Chunin exam finals drawing ever closer, said Kin, as she saw him rise from his couch, and just smiled at her. It's all right. I didn't even know about it until you mentioned the moon being in the sky and have always gone to bed at night before it comes out. However, like you mentioned just now, the Chunin exam finals are approaching, and I would be foolish to miss out on this opportunity, said Naruto seeing the girl looking concerned for a second since whatever power he intended to unleash could possibly destroy their home. How will you test out this new power Naruto-sama? Said Kin, as she saw him smirk at her, and it made the girl's heart jump a little. By looking at the moon at a safe distance from the house in the village. If I do lose the ability to control myself, the village will be annihilated, and that's not on my agenda right now, at least not yet, said Naruto letting out a chuckle. Where are you going to test this newfound power? Said Kin curiously. I'll find a spot. In the meantime, you stay here, and get some sleep, said Naruto, as he left the house, and took to the air while keeping his line of sight away from the moon in the night sky. Must be some power if he's flying off somewhere away from the village, thought Kin, as she wondered what the moon had to do with his power, and just how dangerous it was. Day of the Chunin exam finals. The contestants participating in the Chunin exams were lined up, each one ready for the upcoming fights, and showing what they were capable of to the future clients of the world watching them. Of course, not all of the Genin now Chunin potentials were lined up, as Naruto, Dosu and Sasuke had yet to show up for this event. While most of the people in the stadium watching in the stands cared little for Naruto, for obvious reasons, in terms of showing up, they were concerned for Sasuke, and the fact that he could be disqualified with the chance to become Chunin being denied. Where's Naruto? And Sasuke? They wouldn't miss this event for the world, said Ino, as she saw Neji looking confident, and Gaara was, well, just being Gaara. Gai-sensei has been training Naruto in taijutsu for the entire month. I doubt Naruto would do all the training, said Tenten, as she was sitting with the others, and noticed Hinata was looking increasingly worried. After what Naruto did to her father, the Sandaime had told Hiashi to hold off on marking his eldest with the cage bird seal, and see how things progress with Naruto. When the clan head asked why, the Sandaime Hokage told him that Hinata had caught Naruto's eye, and to do anything to her might result in the blonde unleashing Kyuubi's power on the clan. In fact, the Sandaime proposed that Hiashi wait until after the Chunin exam finals were over, and Naruto was restrained before doing anything to Hinata in that manner. The last thing the Hokage wanted was for Naruto to go on a rampage and cause a lot of damage to the leaf after such an important event that would make the enemies of the village smell blood from freshly made wounds. Will Uzumaki Naruto and Hyuga Neji stay for the first match of the Chunin exam finals, said Genma, as he saw the other contestants leave while Neji stayed, and waited for Naruto to show up. Where is Uzumaki Naruto? I was told by a reliable source he would be participating today, Hokage-sama, said Terumi Mei, as she had taken a seat to the Hokage's right while the cage was on his left, and also wanting to hear an explanation. I don't know Mizukage-sama. I assure you, an investigation into this matter will be led by me should Naruto not show up, and a punishment delivered should proof of foul play be discovered, said the Hokage, as he had hidden his surprise at seeing the woman in Mizukage robes come to the cage booth shortly after the cage arrived, and told them both she was the new ruler of Mist thanks to the help of a great warrior. I bet. Probably feared Naruto-kun and have him locked away somewhere, thought Mei, as she watched the Hyuga stand proudly like he had gone toe-to-toe with a cage, and won without breaking a sweat. Fool. All the talk and he doesn't even show up. Hinata-sama is an even bigger fool for believing in him, thought Neji, as he waited for Genma to declare him the winner, and head into the fighter's box. That was until the cries and shouts from people in surprise were heard, with everyone now looking up to see Naruto shooting towards them like a falling start before flying around the inner part of the stadium in complete circles. The speed he was using was kicking up dust, dirt, and basically blinding everyone that was in the lower seats before gracefully landing on the ground barely 10 feet away from Neji. Am I late? Said Naruto with an almost evil-looking grin on his face. You made it. Just barely though. What kept you? Said Genma seeing the blonde Saiyan grin. I have been busy training for this very day. I wanted to get everything just right for the Chunin exam finals and show exactly what I'm capable of doing, said Naruto, as he was in black pants, armored combat boots with jagged greaves on them, and red t-shirt with various arm bands on both arms with silver bracers around each hand that went just past the wrist. They also had weights and gravity seals on them along with special expanding seals used to make clothing stretch, which were used by the Akamichi for when they would increase their size, and prevent any kind of clothing malfunction from happening. He had studied the idea behind it, used the designs already used, and modified them so they would allow all his clothing to expand to even greater lengths when going into his great ape form. Kyuubi knew about the transformation of course, but had decided not to mention it at all during his month of training, which pissed the blonde off, and asked her why she didn't tell him about it. The demonic vixen wasn't sure if his body could handle the change due to her presence in him, and with the month getting used to his changed body seemed to be a much more important task for the Saiyan. She figured such a power should be known after the Chunin exams when things had calmed down and could focus on it later rather than sooner. Naruto agreed on some level, but given he had a whole month, which also included the night, and the moon itself, the blonde told Kyuubi not to do that again, or he would make her life very miserable. If you say so. Both genin are ready. Fight, said Genma with Neji rushing forward in his gentle fist stance to put an end to the showy blonde. Come on Neji. Is this all you can do? I don't have to do anything except stay in the air and out of your reach, said Naruto, as he dodged each attack, and took to the air with amusement on his face. Since when could Naruto fly? said Ino, as she had seen him hover a bit in the Chunan preliminaries, but she thought it was some kind of trick using a wind jutsu, and not the real actual flying he was doing right now. Beats the hell out of me, said Choji while Sakura scoffed. It doesn't matter, the baka is going to lose, said Sakura while the others looked at her with shocked eyes. How can you say that? He's your teammate, said Tenten with Sakura waving her off. That gets into a lot of trouble and danger. He's not worth anyone's concern, said Sakura while Hinata glared at her. Would have done more if not for the coughing fit she went into. Hinata. We need to get you to a doctor, said Kurenai, as she saw her student fight, and desire to stay. I'm fine. I just need to calm down, said Hinata, as she saw her Junin sensei nod, and yet was clearly keeping an eye on her. Get down here, coward. At least when Hinata-sama, for all her weak, pathetic life, had the courage to fight me, and hold her ground against my attacks, said Neji, which made Naruto scowl at him, and descended to the ground with a loud boom. That shook the arena floor. Okay. I was just messing around to stretch my legs a bit, but because of that, I'm going to do what I said I would do, and kick your ass all over this arena, said Naruto while flaring his energy, and it kicked up some more dirt. Big talk from a failure. Just like Hinata-sama, said Neji while being forced to turn off his Byakugan. You seem confident in that statement, Hyuga Neji. We'll see how strong that conviction is when I leave your body broken on the ground, said Naruto, as he raised his power up even higher, was there 1 second, and then gone the next in the blink of an eye. Only to appear behind Neji, an arm around the Hyuga's neck, and driving his knee into the older boy's spine. The Hyuga tried to cry out in pain, but it was so intense that any sound that wanted to leave his mouth to signify his pain failed to do so, and could only stumble to the ground when released. He didn't have time to recover, as Naruto kicked him in the ribs, making Neji bounce heavily on the ground until hitting the arena wall below the stands. The Saiyan was in front of Neji in an instant, picking up the bloodied Hyuga off the ground, and then threw him easily into the center of the arena floor so everyone could see the prodigy of the Hyuga clan in all of his so-called glory. Damn. He beat Neji up and the fight just barely started, thought Kiba, as he realized just how easy Naruto went on him in the preliminaries, and was slightly happy that his ass wasn't the only one getting kicked around right now. Look at you. Hyuga Neji. The so-called prodigy of the Hyuga clan on the ground, a bleeding mess. Last year, you were the rookie of the year at the academy, and yet for all your greatness, you look like helpless child, said Naruto while Neji spit out some blood from his mouth and staggered off the ground. What do you know? You're nothing. Just some peasant. A commoner, who when compared to noble blood should be lucky breathe the air around me. Hinata-sama is only fortunate enough to be in main family and be considered higher than I am in connection to our noble clan. It's a shame someone of such privilege such as herself would be so weak and pathetic like the boy she's long since admired. Of course, it's to be expected that such a weak and pathetic girl finds strength in another weak and pathetic boy. It's even more pathetic when the boy is just lowly piece of trash not worthy of being a smear on the sandals of a noble's foot, said Neji, as he lashed out with his gentle fist style, and hit Naruto directly in the chest where his heart was located with all the chakra he had. For a moment, no one moved, breathed, or even blinked while many thought the fight was over. That Naruto had let his guard down and Neji got the final word along with the final hit to end the match. Hinata looked in horror at the sight of her crush being struck, the gentle mind she possessed picturing his heart struggling to live under the attack, but collapsed in the end, and exploding into tiny little pieces. Tenten was thinking the same thing, as she knew how deadly Neji could be with his clan style, and wondered what this guilty feeling was that now struck her heart. Was she feeling this because the training Neji asked for? Granted, it didn't really do much good for Neji, but the fact was that her teammate for a Hyuga had intended to make each strike lethal in of itself, and not rely on multiple shots to get the job done. Shame. He was kind of cute, thought Tamari, as she was hoping that after the invasion, he would captured, and be her slave boyfriend with the possibility of getting a powerful bloodline out of the deal for Suna. I'm putting a bounty on the Hyuga's head when I get back to Mist. Dead or alive. And if he's before me alive, the Gaki won't be for long, thought May, as she might have found a future husband for herself after a few more years, and this stupid Hyuga ruined it. All yeah, she was so going to mess that brat up if her shinobi brought him back to Mist alive. Guaranteed. He's not dead, said Gaara watching from the fighter's box with his siblings, and they turned to look at him along with the others in the box. You sure, Gaara? I mean that gentle fist is not something you can walk away from, said Kankuro with Gaara turn his eyes, but not his head to look at him, and felt killer intent aimed in his direction. I'm sure, said Gaara while Kankuro began to sweat a little. How do you know that? Said Temari curiously. Because he's like me. And people like us do not die so easily, said Gaara while turning his attention to Naruto, and the memory of a few days ago came to his mind when in the hospital to finish off Rock Lee. Flashback: Konoha Hospital 4 days ago, Rock Lee was unconscious. The sedatives used had to be strong enough to put a horse to sleep. Why? Because Lee had been abusing his body and training it to get stronger while he was still recovering from the serious damage Sabaku no Gaara put it through. At this moment in time, no one was with Lee, as Guy was either training with Naruto, or doing his own outrageous training that made many think he was nuts. However, that all changed when the bloodlust-filled presence of Sabaku no Gaara came into the room, his eyes looking at Rock Lee, and sand slowly coming out of his gourd. The intention of this visit: to finish what he started in the Chunan exam preliminaries and kill Rock Lee to further please his mother, inside his head. Time to die, Rock Lee. Mother wants your blood and she will have it, said Gaara, as his sand got closer, and the growing anticipation of devouring the helpless genin, knowing that his mother would be very pleased with the offering. No. Your mother won't have it, said Naruto from behind Gaara, his right arm raised, the hand in open palm form, and energy forming into a ball ready to be sent at the Suna-born boy's red-haired skull. Do not get in my way. I won't let you do this to me a second time, said Gaara with his sand redirecting itself at Naruto, but the blonde let out a blast of his power that sent the sand flying against the wall, and leaving the red-haired boy defenseless. You don't have choice. If it were almost anyone else, I'd let you do it without a second thought, but it's not almost anyone else, and I happen to respect this one. His sensei is helping in training me for the exam finals. Besides, why would you kill him now? There is no honor in it, said Naruto with Gaara smirking at him while the sand came back to his gourd. This is not about honor. It's about killing, said Gaara coldly while once more making the sand redirect itself back to Lee once in his presence, but it was stopped when another connected to his shadow, and found it wouldn't budge. Troublesome. One of you being crazy is bad enough, but two of you is just worse, and I don't know which one between you is the greater idiot, said Shikamaru while holding Gaara and his sand in place with his shadow possession jutsu. Don't think too hard, Shikamaru. The lazy boy in you just might die, said Naruto with a smirk while Shikamaru groaned. Like I said before, you are troublesome, and so is your sense of humor, said Shikamaru while Gaara just scowled at the interference the two had brought. I will not be denied by either of you. I will kill this genin, then you too, and prove my existence, said Gaara before commanding more of his sand to converge on Lee, much to Shikamaru's shock and surprise. He shouldn't be able to do that, thought Shikamaru while trying to figure out how Gaara did do that. That's almost as funny as it is stupid, said Naruto calmly while Gaara's sand suddenly stopped and the boy himself glared at him. Explain, said Gaara coldly. Simple. If you kill all three of us, how can you prove your existence? Who would you tell? Who would believe you? Said Naruto seeing Gaara's eyes narrow at him. My brother, sister, and sensei would believe me, said Gaara while Naruto scoffed. Family and sensei don't count. You want to kill us? Fine. But not here. Not here where it's quiet, no one's around to see, or tell anyone what you are going to do. The Chunin exam finals are almost here, where hundreds people in Konoha, and all over the world will be attending. Big shot clients and daimyos will be watching. They see you kill us, they'll spread your name throughout their lands, and tell their friends about you. They'll take you seriously. Fight us there, said Naruto with Gaara thinking his words over in his mind. Your words hold weight. There is truth in them, said Gaara before retracting his sand back into the gourd. Why would I lie to a fellow brother? Said Naruto lower his hand while seeing Gaara and Shikamaru looking at him with raised eyebrows. Brother. I have no brother outside of my older one, said Gaara while Naruto smirked at him. Not by blood. By burden, said Naruto with Gaara's eyes widening for a second. What is Naruto talking about? Thought Shikamaru while Gaara just stared at him for a second with unsure eyes. I hold number one, said Gaara at last. And I hold number 9, said Naruto, making Gaara's spine straighten noticeably. I see. It is no wonder you were able to make me understand your words so well. I will see you at the Chunan exam finals, said Gaara before vanishing in a swirl of sand, and a stunned Narashikimaru was now looking at him like he was missing something. Care to fill me in, you troublesome blonde, said Shikamaru before Guy came in with a serious expression on his face, and it was clear that Junin heard everything. Later. Much later. You have 5 minutes to see Lee before we do more training again, Guy-sensei. Don't wear weights this time. I want to fight you for the next 3 days without restraint on your end, said Naruto, seeing Guy nod before dragging Shikamaru out of the room. End flashback. What? You mean he's like you? But, said Tamari in disbelief while Kankuro was shivering in fear at what that meant. Gaara was bad enough, but that was monster they knew, and this Naruto character had the strongest of them all without much intel on him. Yes. He will be my greatest victory, said Gaara while grinning a truly evil smile. You can let go now, Neji. You may look like a girl, but I don't swing that way, and never will for as long as I live, said Naruto finally while Neji looked at him in shock, knowing it shouldn't be possible for him to shrug off the attack like it was nothing. I am possible, said Neji in disbelief before crawling backwards away from Naruto. Hardly. Now, I do believe that you've had your fighting chance in trying to cause me at the very least a great deal of pain. At most, you tried to kill me, and in front of everyone here in a legal setting like you tried with Hinata in the preliminaries. You failed for a second time. Now, it's my turn, said Naruto before grinning an evil grin that spoke of the many things to come that would not be pretty for one Hyuga Neji. In an instant, Naruto was gone again, only to appear in front of Neji, his fist in the older boy's gut, the impact nearly turning the Hyuga's internal organs into paste, and was soon followed by another blow by the young Saiyan. Then more blows from Naruto to Neji at all possible angles, hitting the Hyuga prodigy hard, and fast without mercy in front of shocked eyes. No one expected Neji to lose against the blonde or this badly despite the rumors of Naruto's change in appearance. They never expected that their poorly trained Kyuubi Jinchuriki would be winning against the Hyuga clan prodigy and last year's Rookie of the Year. One final fist to the face sent Neji skidding along the ground, as Naruto slowly walked over to the downed Hyuga, and had an orb of energy in his hand ready to blast the older boy to pieces. Neji could only stare at the bright light from the energy ball Naruto had just made and then up at the blonde to await the inevitable end of his life. This was not how Neji pictured things ending. Not by a long shot. The elders and Hiashi had greatly convinced him that Naruto would lose at his hands through the superior taijutsu that was Gentle Fist. But here he was. Broken. Bleeding. Staring at his death and the man holding the preverbal scythe in his hand. So this is how it ends. And here I thought fate was on my side. I was wrong, thought Neji, as he saw Naruto looking at him for a few more seconds, and then cancel the attack before walking away. Call the match. I won, said Naruto while heading to the fighter's box. Winner of the first match is Uzumaki Naruto, said Genma while the medics rushed to Neji and bring him to the medical area. Naruto won, said Sakura in disbelief while many were thinking the same thing, but in a more positive line of thinking, and not with contempt either. It shouldn't surprise you. Guy-sensei was spending time with Naruto the whole month in learning taijutsu, and that includes using a lot of weights. I wouldn't be surprised if he was holding back against Neji, said Tenten, making many of the people around her begin to wonder if that was true and just how strong Naruto really was. It made them shiver at the possibilities. That's my man. Granted, he was clearly fighting for the honor of this Hyuga girl, but that won't stop me from making Naruto mine in a few years, and with his impressive display of power, thought Mei, as she got perverted things running around in her mind, and had to fight the blush that wanted to form. The boy is impressive, Hokage-sama. Where have you been keeping this one? Under a special lock and key perhaps, said the cage with curiosity. In a manner of speaking. Yes. The boy has been training non-stop all month in secret with Maida Guy and Jiraiya of the Sannin. I can see his training has shown promising results, said the Sandame while acting like he had made it possible. Something both his guests knew wasn't true. Still, he was impressive, and with his ability to fly gave him quite the edge. I say this Uzumaki Naruto knew that and used it to his advantage. He's more than qualified to be Chunin in my book, said Mei while the Sandame bit back the frown that wanted to reveal itself. Maybe. Though I think the boy has much to learn about being on time and not being so flashy with entrances, said the Sandaime while the Mizukage raised an eyebrow at him. Then I take it Uchiha Sasuke won't be promoted either, said Mei while the Hokage mentally winced. Yes. He won't be promoted. Neither of them will be promoted due to tardiness, said the Hokage knowing he could always promote Sasuke later using some other means or law Konoha possessed. Really? What a shame. I think Uzumaki Naruto would make a great Chunan, said Mei seeing the Hokage scowl now and the Kazekage doing it too though with lesser notice behind the veil. Next match is Uchiha Sasuke vs Sabaku no Gaara, said Genma seeing Gaara appear moments later, but Sasuke was not around, and the Kazekage's youngest son hated to wait. It seems the Uchiha isn't going to show, said Mei while the Hokage and the Kazekage frowned. With all due respect Hokage-sama, but perhaps we should just postpone Uchiha Sasuke's match with Gaara, and continue forward since we both want our best to fight each other for the benefit of the people, said the Kazekage and it seemed like the Hokage was going to agree. Hell no. We are not postponing. Uchiha Sasuke knew when to show up for the Chunin exams like everybody else. He's not here. Just because he is the last of his clan does not mean the boy should get special privileges, said Mei while seeing the Hokage and the Kazekage look at her. I see the mist's contempt for bloodlines still lives in its new leader, said the Kazekage while Mei washed the entire cage booth in killer intent. How dare you? I hold no prejudice over bloodlines for I have one myself and yet I say no special privileges for the Uchiha. You either disqualify Uchiha Sasuke or I will make sure your daimyo will hear of my complaints on this matter since the previous cages in any of the village never did such a thing, said Mei with the Hokage and Kazekage both frowning at this since they both wanted Sasuke to be here for this. Disqualify the Uchiha, said the Sandaime Hokage while the Kazekage was internally seething at the command the old fire shadow gave a nearby subordinate. Hokage-sama, my son will be most displeased by this, and it will hurt by not being able to fight Uchiha Sasuke, said the Kazekage while the Hokage sighed and the Mizukage just rolled her eyes. He can suck it up. From what I've heard, the boy isn't going to whine and bitch over the loss of not fighting one person, said Mei coldly to the Kazekage. They can't do this. Sasuke-kun is supposed to win. Not Naruto. Not this Sabaku no Gaara baka, said Sakura, as she was in pure pissed-off fangirl mode, and everyone could see it from a mile away. Will Sabaku no Kankuro and Aburame Shino please come down? Your match is next, said Genma seeing the puppet user looking uneasy at the moment. I forfeit, said Kankuro quickly while Shino and Naruto narrowed their eyes at him. Okay. Winner by forfeit is Aburame Shino. Will Sabaku no Tamari and Narashikimaru come down? Your match is next, said Genma with Tamari coming down via her fan in a graceful manner while Shikamaru began to think things over in terms of whether or not to simply forfeit. Troublesome. I have to fight another girl. Cammy must either hate me or as a woman. Or both. Maybe I should just play it safe and forfeit, Shikamaru thought, but just as the lazy genius was about to forfeit his match, Cammy threw a wrench in his plans, and it was the size of a sledgehammer. Narashikimaru. A female voice suddenly yelled out from the stands that spoke of authority that rivaled the Hokage in his prime that could make anyone freeze in fear. But only the lazy shadow user froze. He knew that voice all too well. It was the voice of the person he feared above all else. More than the Hokage in his prime and full of rage. Slowly, ever so slowly, the Shikamaru turned in the direction of the voice. And he was immediately frightened for his life. His mother, Nara Yoshino, was standing up with her evil frying pan, which had been dubbed the emasculator by all the males of the Nara clan, in her firm pain-inflicting hands. Yoshino roared, Shikamaru Nara. Don't you even so much as think of surrendering or so help me, with Cammy as my witness, I will take you over my knee here and now, and spank your lazy ass so hard you won't be able to sit for a year. Shikamaru looked devastated and looked to his father, Shikaku Nara, for help in keeping his mother at bay. Shikaku just looked at his son sympathetically and shook his head at the boy's plight. There was no way Shikaku could talk to his wife about letting their only son off the hook. Even if she did, Yoshino would make them both pay for it in the end, and the clan head didn't want to be left alone with his wife when that happened. If there was one thing all male Naras knew, it was that they may be very smart, but their wives and mothers were even smarter. A Nara male thinks about where to take a woman on the first date, the woman in question is already thinking about marrying them, and their need to have a child while using that child to keep their future husband in line. Sure, they let their husbands go out for a drink every so often, but they always check with their better half, and if they are so much as 5 minutes late. Bam! The incredible power of the emasculator would set the Nara male it hit straight, knowing that woman, who was wielding it, was not only unhappy, but she was going to leave out the safety word when they coupled, and that there would be a lot of pain involved in those long hours. Lots and lots of pain from which there was no escape for the male Nara, tied down and gagged to prevent any brave soul from hearing the ear-piercing screams being let out. Defeated, Shikamaru began walking towards the stairs into the arena, mumbling all the while about troublesome women with evil frying pans, and how there was no way to defeat them. It just further proved to Narashikimaru that Kami was a woman, and was doing this just to spite their lazy clan. Not that way, you idiot. This is much faster, said Naruto, who wasn't going to wait for the Nara to slowly walk down the steps of the fighter's box, and threw the boy over the railing. Damn you, Naruto. You're just like my mother. Always being a pain in my ass, said Shikamaru, as he got off the ground, and dusted himself off. Pain in your ass. I'll give you a pain in the ass. Yelled Yoshino while Shikaku had to struggle to keep his wife in the stands and not win the match their son's opponent. Honey, stop. You can get him later, said Shikaku, knowing his wife would get him later too, but it would be worth it to see his son advance in rank, and make Yoshino's mood lighten knowing Shikamaru was growing up. Fine. But his ass will be mine when this is all over. Yelled with all the female fury that being a mother to such a lazy son could produce. Yes, honey. I know. Until then, just keep calm and think happy thoughts. Happy thoughts only, said Shikaku, seeing his wife struggle to bring her temper in check. Wow. I almost feel sorry for you, said Tamari, smirking with her fan at the ready. Really? Said Shikamaru in a lazy tone that didn't believe the smirking woman in front of him. I almost feel sorry for you, said Tamari, as she saw Shikamaru mumble, and look at her with no real interest in his eyes. Ready. Fight, said Genma before leaping back to give the two space. Troublesome, thought Shikamaru, as he saw that same evil glint in Tamari's eyes that his mother had, and found the similarities to be very disturbing. Maybe Tamari was his cousin or something on his mom's side of the family. Or was it just how all women looked at him when they wanted to inflict bodily harm? Omake Naruto's apartment number 3. During the long month gap leading to the Chunan exams, Naruto had the hole in the wall discreetly patched up, and used the building from time to time for throwing the Hokage off the scent of him, knowing where his real home was, along with protecting Kin from any more kidnappings. Now here he was, relaxing after a long day, as Kin knew of where he was going to be sleeping tonight in the near future until the Chunan exam finals were over, and things calmed down in the village. A knock at his door brought him to it, as he saw the person behind the door was none other than Inuzuka Hana, and she was in Naruto's mind a real babe. She was wearing gray shorts that went down to her knees, sandals with straps that just went above the ankles, and a tank top with Chunan vest behind it to hide the bust the woman had. Can I help you? Said Naruto with the woman looking him over. I'm looking for Uzumaki Naruto, said Hana, as she saw him raise an eyebrow at her, and wondered if she might need glasses. I'm him, said Naruto while seeing how far she would go to deny it. Don't play games with me. Naruto is a short runt, who wears an orange jumpsuit, and eats ramen like an Akamichi does barbecue ribs, said Hana while seeing Naruto chuckle at her. Well, I'm not short anymore, and while orange is a nice color, I do imagine the jumpsuit with the color being the vast majority on it is a bit much, said Naruto while not denying he ate a lot of ramen. I still don't believe you're him. When Kiba told me who beat him in the Chunin exam finals, I looked at your folder, and found the picture of you with the stats recorded, said Hana while Naruto scoffed. Outdated and poorly documented material. You should have come here first to get the full story about me, said Naruto with a grin on his face. If you say so. I'm still not convinced, said Hana, as she tried to keep calm, and not feel a sudden burning feeling in her loins. Come on in and I'll prove it to you, said Naruto with his grin getting wider, and Hana could feel her face getting warmer too. Okay. But only for a moment, said Hana, as she entered the apartment, and Naruto shut the door before locking it. Next morning, Hana stumbled home. Her walk was wobbly at best. She had bags under her eyes from the lack of sleep due to the activities from last night. Her hair was standing all over the place, drool was coming out of the Inuzuka's face, and mumbling something while trying to make it home without falling down. The clothing she wore was rumpled, the Chunan vest looked like it had nearly been torn in half, barely holding on at the seams, and her pants so loose at the waist that you could see what lay beyond them on one side if the tank top wasn't down at that level to prevent people from seeing. She entered the Inuzuka clan house, heading for the stairs, and finally to her room. "Sis. What the hell happened to you?" said Kiba seeing his sister like that. "Found Alpha. Good night. Sleep. Need rest," said Hana while opening the door to her room while Kiba just looked shocked and then angry. "What? Who is he? I'll kill him," yelled Kiba before being kicked in the balls by Hana despite her exhausted condition. "Shut up, runt," said Hana, as she headed into her room, shutting the door, and making it to the edge of the bed before falling onto the soft surface. Sometime later, what? Yelled Sum seeing Hana holding what she feared most right now than even Kyuubi's return. "I'm pregnant and Uzumaki Naruto is the father," said Hana holding up the one thing that would make her mother fall over in an instant. A positive pregnancy test. And sure enough, Inuzuka Sum did fall over, and faint from the news. "Naruto's apartment and the collection of wonderful items has grown once more," said Naruto, as he put the lovely black panties belonging to Hana next to Kurenai's, and let out a laugh worthy of a warrior having conquering another worthy opponent. "Must. Get. Free. Must. Mate with. Naruto-kun. Must. Please. Him once. Free," said Kyuubi, as she was pacing around, going completely crazy, and wanting a piece of the Saiyan in a bad way. End Omake. Omake number 2 Jiraiya learns to fly. Come on Gaki. Teach me how to fly, said Jiraiya, as he had seen Naruto flying around, and knew such a thing would benefit his research along with the means of getting away when caught. "Why should I?" said Naruto while his teacher was now on his hands and knees begging him pathetically to learn the secret, "because I'll teach you anything you want to know. I'll teach you how to summon toads like your father did," said Jiraiya seeing Naruto thinking the offer over. "Teach him Naruto-kun," said Kyuubi in his head. "What?" thought Naruto in disbelief at Kyuubi. "I have an idea. Trust me," said Kyuubi, as she told him her idea, and it made the blonde Saiyan grin evilly inside while keeping it from the Sannin. "All right Jiraiya. I'll teach you. Consider it a freebie, but you can only use the ability in an emergency for now since it takes a long time to master, and while I'm sure you could get it down in no time I doubt you will start right away," said Naruto seeing the Sannin jump for joy and thanking him. "What do I have to do?" said Jiraiya, as he was told what to do, and soon enough the Sannin rushed off to the nearest hot springs. Never seeing Naruto's evil-looking grin in the process. "I needed this so damn badly," said Anko, as she relaxed in hot springs with Kurenai, Hana, Sum, Yoshino, and Yugao all doing the same. "I'd drink to that if we had some sake," said Sum with a grin. Above them, Jiraiya was hanging onto the branch, looking at them with binoculars, and grinning deviously from his position at seeing the women below. So many breasts. So much wet female flesh that he wished would willingly surround him instead of their fists and feet that normally did when caught by such women. Sometimes Jiraiya cursed his luck in not being hot spring water, as he would love to be such the element right now with so many hot women, and just feel the flesh these babes had. So unfair. If he were a Wonder Twin from the Super Friends, this would be the first place he'd go after using his half of the ring. Below him on the male side of the hot springs, Naruto watched his perverted sensei doing his things, and knew it was time to nip this in the bud. Shooting a small blast of energy from his right hand's index, the attack hit the tree branch with enough force that it took enough off for the weight of Jiraiya to be too much, and soon gave way with the Sannin falling into the middle of the female side of the hot springs. Of course Jiraiya was trying to use the flying ability the moment he started to fall, but it didn't work, and remembered what Naruto said about it taking time to master. Now Jiraiya wished he had. "Oh," said Jiraiya seeing the angry-looking women surround him and knew begging for mercy was out of the question. "Anything to say before we kick your ass," said Anko while looking peeved at seeing the old pervert getting a look at her body. Only Naruto was allowed to see it. "Think happy thoughts and I'll fly. Think happy thoughts and I'll fly," thought Jiraiya in a desperate attempt to get out of this situation. Sadly for him, the Sannin didn't even hover, and by this point Jiraiya had a feeling he had been duped by his student. Get him, said Hana, as she along with the others grabbed him, and started to hurt the Sannin badly. Ah. No. Not that. No. Don't shove my foot up there. Ah. Stop. Mercy. Yelled Jiraiya while the women were basically turning him into their own version of what a pretzel looked like. Filthy old pervert. No respect towards us vixens during our time of relaxation, said Kyuubi, as she along with Naruto could hear the screams of Jiraiya being music to their ears, and loving every second it. Says the demonic vixen, who wants to be free, and rut with me for the next 2000 years, thought Naruto with Kyuubi blushing. Shut up, said Kyuubi before going deeper into her cage while muttering about hot Saiyans being unfair and what they do to hot vixens like her. End omake. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys liked it. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like for more what ifs and support the author. See you guys in the next video.